Hey guys, welcome back to the second part of our cardboard ruins video. And this is really where the magic happens. You know, when you're slapping this stuff together using cardboard and hot glue and construction sand, it just looks kind of like a mess. You know, it's you got a feeling of it kind of going to look like, but it still really doesn't. It just looks like a bunch of stuff slapped together. But once you get to this phase, once you paint this stuff, that's when the magic really happens and it really looks good. So let's go to the table and we'll show you how I do that. So here's our ruin. I've spray painted it flat black, and I've got a dark brown here. And I'm just going to use my brush and fill in the base. And I'm using this, applying this fairly wet. So put a little bit on the ruin itself just to give it a kind of a dirty appearance. And make sure that's all filled in. Good to go. Now I'm going to use a lighter brown and a tan. And I'm going to supplement the first color I put on. So the darker brown is dried, and I'm going to stipple on this lighter brown, and it'll give a color variation to the base there. And then I'll do a little bit of highlight with the tan. So I'll just stipple that on the base, add some color areas there, and good to go. Now I want to do the ruin itself, so I'm going to use a gray, and I'll use my sponge and just stipple that all over the ruin there. You can see how that painting that black really gives it a nice shading without having to paint any shading, because I'm just filling in the areas and the recessed areas stay dark. So it really gives a nice shading effect to that without me really even doing anything. I'm just stippling on the gray. So looking good. Now we're ready for our next step. All right, so I want to do some highlight. And I'm going to use a color called Pebble, which is a cross between a gray and a tan. I'll just dry brush that a little bit on there just to give a little bit of a color variation. Now I'm going to use a light gray, and I'm going to hit the edges of the ruin with my sponge, and this will give a really nice highlight to that. And it looks kind of light right now, but this will dry up a little darker than it's appearing as you first apply it. I'm going to hit the stones, got all the edges, and then hit some of the flat surfaces on the ruin itself. All right, there we go, looking great. And show you the interior there. Nice. All right. Now, I want to add a little more distress to this, so I'm going to use a black, okay, and a thin brush, and I'm going to paint some cracks on here, all right? And see how that adds to it. It really makes it look like a crumbling ruin. And then just go around and you don't want to make them look all the same. You want to vary the cracks somewhat. And just hit all the areas. There you go, looks nice. Really adds to it. All right. Now to accentuate that, I'm going to use a light gray. The light gray I use to highlight the ruin itself. And then I'm going to paint some of the edges of the cracks, okay? And see how that makes those stand out? It really makes them pop out. And that's a nice way you can do to just make it so that they're really three-dimensional. They really look like it's a crumbling ruin. That really looks good. All right. Now I want to add to the base. And I'm going to use my flocking that I made. If you see my flocking video, this is the same stuff. And I am going to add some glue to the ruin. And then I'll just put some flocking on it. And I will let this dry, and it'll be ready to go. Okay, so it's dried, and I've got a lighter green than the flocking itself. And the nice stuff with this is, since it's pencil shavings, you can paint directly on it. And look at that nice variation of color we're getting there with those, with that flocking. Really looks good, really nice. All right, looking good. So there we go. Coming up over the rocks, really nice on the edges. All right, I want to add a little more detail to this. I'm going to use some plastic plants that I had that I thought looked like vines. So I'm going to add these to the piece. And I'll just grab my hot glue gun, hit it, and then put it up against the edge because I want it to look like a vine that's like climbing up the edge of the ruin. I have a smaller one here, and I'll get some wisps off, add that, and it's all set. Now I want to kind of blend it in the base, and I'm going to use this modeling paste. You could use the glue gun, but it's a little tricky with it being right up against the ruin there. So I'm going to use this modeling paste stuff, and I'm just going to kind of fill in where the vine, the plastic plant hits the base. Okay. And to give that a little bit of more definition, I'm going to use a toothpick and kind of pull it up on the plastic plant, and then pull it out almost like roots. All right. I'm going to use a brown and a green and just kind of blend it into the base. All right. I'm just going to paint it on while it's wet. And there you go. Hidden. All ready for the table. Sproing. Here I have the ruins set up on my play surface, and let me grab my party, set them up. Put the mage on that walkway there, and the rogue hidden behind those that crumbled wall. I think those really look good. Let me take the mage off here, and let's take a closer look at that. So really nice. Those cracks really stand out. Nice having that vine coming up the side. The grass on there looks really good. It's really cool having those tactical things that you can do with the broken walkways and things. We'll look at the one over here with the broken wall. Looks really nice, and no one would ever suspect these are cardboard. Look how good that looks. I really like the technique along the edging with the construction sand. Really makes it look like a ruin. And there we go. Ready for your table. Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed this video on making really cheap but cool looking ruins. If you really like this kind of crafting, make sure to check out my Facebook group and my forum. And remember, go forth and craft. This thing is heavy.
Oh, hello, nameless rogue. What are you doing?
Oh, I found this treasure. I thought I'd share it with you.
Uh-huh, I'm sure you were coming to share it with us.
Oh, yeah, of course I was.
Yeah, well, I was killing the monsters. You were getting the treasure.